Welcome back to my channel and welcome to Thriller Thursday. So for today's Thriller Thursday, I'm going to be talking about the case of the silent twins. Now this is a sort of type of mystery video, so yeah, you'll see when I get started. So Jennifer and June Gibbons were both born in 1963 in Barbados, but were both raised in Wales. By moving from Barbados into a more white community, it caused the girls to be bullied from a very young age. Apparently the bullying even got to a point where their teachers and the head teacher at their school would actually let them leave lessons 5 to 10 minutes earlier to try and avoid these bullies. Unfortunately, due to them both getting bullied, this actually caused them not to talk, which is where they got the name the Silent Twins from. When the girls did speak, they only spoke to each other in a sort of made-up language, which they made up themselves, but this was later discovered to be just sped up English. When they did speak in this language, it just sounded as if birds were chirping according to other people, and no one understood what they were saying or talking about other than themselves. Obviously, being in this state of isolation can be very unhealthy, especially to start from a very young age, but doing it together caused a lot of very unhealthy habits for them both. One of the girls said that it sort of started out as a game, like a sort of coping mechanism for the bullying, and so they didn't have to talk to others. And she also claimed that it then turned into a nightmare and that they were afraid that they wouldn't ever be able to escape it. When the girls turned 14 years old, the school decided to separate them both by putting them in different classes. They did this hoping the girls would then have no other choice to start talking to other children and make more friends, to try and sort of break them out of this state of isolation. Unfortunately, this actually did the complete opposite, and then even when the girls got home from school, they would both lock themselves in their room and just do what they were interested in, which was creative writing and poetry. Going back to when they were both born, June was actually born 10 minutes before Jennifer, and I know a lot of twins joke around by saying, oh, I'm the oldest, I was born a couple of minutes before, but Jennifer actually felt less superior to June, and as if she was always in competition with her, she thought that June was prettier, more intelligent, and just more important. Apparently, June started to realise that Jennifer felt this way and felt a sense of envy and jealousy against her. Although the girls only spoke to each other, no one else had realised that both of them have started to grow hatred for one another. One year for Christmas, both of the girls received 2 diaries, and these were red leather diaries, and inside they wrote anything they wanted, their expressions, their feelings, anything. But no one had imagined how dark and twisted some of the things the girls wrote in the diaries would be. So I'm going to read a little bit from June's diary and then I'll read a little bit from Jennifer's. So starting with June's diary, a quote from that is, "She wants us to be equal. There is a murderous gleam in her eye. Dear Lord, I am scared of her. She is not normal. Someone is driving her insane. It is me." And now this is from Jennifer's diary. "We have become fatal enemies in each other's eyes. We feel the irritating deadly rays come out of our bodies, stinging each other's skin. I say to myself, can I get rid of my own shadow? Impossible or not possible? Without my shadow would I die? Without my shadow would I gain life? Be free or left to die? without my shadow which I identify the face of misery, deception, murder. So as you can see, their relationship was not healthy at all, not only because they both were locked inside a room with each other all day, every day, and only spoke to each other, but also because they both felt as if they couldn't live while the other was living. So due to everything that was going on, the girls turned to writing. They enjoyed poetry, creative writing, stories, and also diary entries. And it was pretty well known that the girls wanted to become recognised for their writing. That was their dream. But once they both realised that they weren't getting the recognition or attention that they so dearly wanted and needed, this took a turn for the worst. So when their writing career didn't take off like they wanted, they both turned to petty crime. They would steal, they would choke each other, they would pretty much do anything illegal to try and get attention. But it wasn't until the girls started burning down buildings when they got the attention that they wanted, and they actually got arrested, and obviously their plan didn't go to plan. So when the girls were in court for the arson crimes that they were committing, they were both deemed as being mentally unstable. Therefore, they weren't charged with their crimes, but they were actually put in a high maintenance, like a high security mental institution. I can't say that word. Institution. So when they were put in this mental institution, they were both placed in rooms at different ends of the building. And then the behaviour that the nurses saw and noted were very creepy. So even though these nurses had the twins at separate sides of the institution, they noticed that the twins would be in the same, like froze in the same positions at the same time, or doing the same thing at the same time, and they couldn't explain how it was happening, as they obviously couldn't see each other, they didn't know what one another were doing. So yeah, they also started to create some odd behaviours. So while one of the twins would starve themselves for the whole day, the other would indulge in lots and lots of food, and then the next day it's as if they would swap over. So the other twin would starve and the other would eat lots of food. Eventually it was brought to the attention that the twins weren't as high risk as they thought that they would be, and therefore they were moved to a lower security mental institution, as they didn't need the high security one anymore. Around this time, the twins became friends with a journalist under the name of Marjorie Wallace, and Marjorie wanted to learn more about the twins and actually wanted to write an article about them, or a sort of biography. So after the twins found out that she wanted to write a biography on them, they obviously liked this idea and started communicating with her, which is very different for them to do, as they obviously only spoke to each other. Just before the twins were about to be moved to yet another mental institution, they were visited by Marjorie, and this is when they were 31 years old. And Jennifer said to Marjorie, "Marjorie, I am going to have to die." And obviously this is really worrying behaviour. Marjorie said to her, "Why do you have to die? You've got your whole life left. You're still young, you don't have to die. Why are you saying this?" And Jennifer's scary response was, "Because we've decided." So these girls had thought between themselves in their own minds that they would only be able to live a normal life if the other wasn't living. In March 1993, the twins were being transferred, and this was shortly after the conversation they had with Marjorie. Upon arrival to the new institution, Jennifer was not responsive and was rushed to hospital. Later, she was then pronounced dead under natural causes, and they believe that the causes were swelling of the heart. From an autopsy, there was no sign of poison, any foul play or suspicious activity that went on. It was all natural causes. When June was interviewed on her sister's death, she said that Jennifer laid her head on her shoulder and said that she's going to die now, and her words started to slur and she fell asleep with her eyes open. After Jennifer's death, June went on to live a pretty much normal life, and she no longer had to stay in the mental institution. She moved near to her parents and functioned normally in society. Jennifer's headstone on her grave was actually a poem written by June, and it's quite creepy. So the headstone reads, "We once were two, we two made one. We no more two, through life be one. Rest in peace." And that is the end of this case. This is a bit different. It's a bit mysterious and more creepy than some of my other videos may be. It's very strange how the twins thought they couldn't live a normal life while the other was living, when twins usually have a very strong connection to one another and normally would obviously think the complete opposite. But yeah, let me know your opinions on this case down below and any other cases you would like to see on my channel. If you enjoyed, I'd love if you could give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.